Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Among a bill scheduled for markup last Tuesday, the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services is the Secure and Fair Enforcement or SAFE Banking Act, which would provide federal protection for banks serving state legal cannabis businesses. The legislation, which has been dormant in Congress for several years, received its first committee hearing last month. It would prevent federal banking regulations from punishing banks for working with cannabis-related businesses that are complying with state laws. So according to the National Cannabis Industry Association, or NCIA, the bill would also require the Financial Institution Examination Council to develop guidance to help credit unions and banks understand how to lawfully serve cannabis businesses. The SAFE Act could also help shift U.S. cannabis sentiment. The three-day meeting session of the House and Financial Services Committee that concluded on Thursday, March 28th, had a 45-15 vote in favor of the Secured and Fair Enforcement Banking Act of 2019, otherwise known as the SAFE Banking Act. During the opening remarks on Tuesday, Chair Maxine Waters said that the group's goal with the bill is to protect consumers. She described it as a holistic approach to criminal justice reform due to the impact on the criminalization of cannabis, particularly on those affected by its illegality. And the SAFE Banking Act could also help signal a larger shift in public opinion that may ultimately help legalization like the STATES Act to gain traction. The STATES Act is a policy bill aimed at offering similar banking protections and allowing the legal operation of cannabis companies at a state level. Several multi-state operators in the U.S. have placed heavy bets on passing of the state's bill, and Bloomberg reported that analysts at Cohen and 8 Capital share a bright outlook on the impact of the SAFE Banking Act. Managing partner at Meridian Capital Partners said, quote, "American multi-state operators like Acreage and Curaleaf Holdings are much bigger than most Canadian companies. I can't see the appetite for U.S. banks to lend to most Canadian licensed producers over the multi-state operators." Regardless, cannabis legalization is poised to be a discussion topic for the upcoming 2020 presidential election, as several Democratic hopefuls to the candidacy have stated strong positive sentiment towards a clear-cut legalization path at the federal level. States like Illinois aren't sitting back waiting for the STATES Act to be passed at the federal level, so they're passing statewide banking bills to protect banks serving cannabis businesses. So an Illinois Senate committee voted to advance a bill that would prohibit the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations from taking any action that would penalize or dissuade banks and credit unions from serving legal cannabis-related businesses. It's not only happening in Illinois, but in West Virginia as well, as a justice signs a cannabis banking bill, although it's still years out. The West Virginia Medical Cannabis Act passed in 2017 that allows patients to register with the program. But on Tuesday, the governor signed into law a bill that would allow state treasurer bid out banking contracts for medical marijuana to different types of banking institutions, including credit unions, given that as vendors announced their unwillingness to participate in the program. Quote, "Without a process to accept and distribute funds related to applications for permits and fees associated with the implementation of the Medical Cannabis Act, and without funding for the programs, the OMC has not been able to proceed along with the original timeline previously established. Once their issues are resolved, new timelines will be established for the implementation of the program." The U.S. is trying to figure out banking, and Canada is trying to figure out taxes. Lawyers say new Canadian rules in the recent released federal budget provide clarification around some of the uncertainties faced on new cannabis businesses and medical cannabis users. The budget changes the way excise tax is calculated now. The greater of either a flat rate based on a cannabis product's weight or quantity in its packaging, or a rate calculated based on the cannabis product's sales price. While the calculations may become simpler, the government may also be missing an opportunity to bring clarity to the issue. Canada has more issues than just taxes. They're having a lot of returns because of bad product that has either low testing or visible powdery mildew or just overall bad product. And so people are going back to their trusted dealer, aka black market or medical without medical cards. And so we're starting to see more discerning customers demanding a better product. And with that, we're going to roll this one up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.